Assassin's Creed has become the Call of Duty / Madden / FIFA of the action-adventure RPG world. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are we fatigued of Assassin's Creed? Are Assassin's Creed even stealth games anymore? There are so many questions when it comes to Assassin's Creed. And with the latest 15th anniversary and Ubisoft's Forward letting us know what future Assassin's Creed games there are, is it too late? Are we kind of over it? Or can we be saved? Let's find out. There are 12 main Assassin's Creed titles and 7 spin-off titles. That is absolute madness. I mean, the series started in 2007, so that's almost 2 titles a year. And we probably remember when those 2 came out, and then some. Now let's start with Assassin's Creed, which came out in 2007 to critical acclaim. This was an incredible game. One of my favorite games. The first of its kind, really. Focusing on stealth and parkour like never before. A game set in the Middle East, a war against the Templars, you play as an assassin. There were twists, there were turns, there were insane finishers and combos, and the only thing that really set it back were the weird controls where you had to control every single limb when you were climbing buildings. Yes, we remember that. And it felt like a true assassin game, where you would plot your kill, strategize. Each move was thoroughly thought out, and on the off chance you were caught, well, all hell would break loose, and you would just murder as many guards as you could and hopefully escape. But the game really punished you if you couldn't escape by entrapping you with multiple enemies, where if you didn't get the perfect counter off at a time, you would most likely be dead. 𝔸𝔻𝕆ℝ𝔸𝕄 will forever be the first assassin, the one that opened up our minds to this franchise. And we have to give props to 𝔸𝔻𝕆ℝ𝔸𝕝, even though Assassin's Creed 2 is better. It is. Trust me, it is. I know. I feel like a lot of people would agree with that. I don't think that's a bold statement to say. But Assassin's Creed 2 took Assassin's Creed and just made it 10 times better. Not saying Assassin's Creed 1 was bad. It wasn't. But Assassin's Creed 2 really set the stage for Assassin's Creed. That came out in 2009. One of the greatest Assassin's Creed games of all time. 𝔸𝔻𝕆ℝ𝔸𝕄. You say that name outside, at least 3 people will turn around and be like, I know who that is. I've played those games. It's an iconic character in gaming, just like Duke Nukem. You say those names, you know what we're talking about. And it's arguably one of the most memorable characters in the franchise. Now, it took place in late 15th century Renaissance Italy, and you're out for revenge for the murder of your family. And it started off so incredibly captivating, and then you find out your family is a bunch of assassins. You train to become an assassin, then you start building up your town. You're trying to connect who knows who to murder who knows where, and it pushed the AC series further into the limelight. For those who didn't play AC1, well, they might have turned their heads on AC2. And the combat was refined. The design and the environments were breathtaking, polished. Climbing Italian architecture was unreal. Jumping into haystacks was incredible. Add in the stealth and the combat mechanic alongside the ability to grow your own town. This, in my opinion, is the greatest Assassin's Creed game ever made. From there, Assassin's Creed went in little spin-off directions, with 𝔸𝔻𝕆ℝ𝔸𝕝 and Ezio continuing their storylines with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations. Now, they were fun games to continue that AC itch when we waited for AC3. But what was incredible about Brotherhood was it was the first Assassin's Creed game that offered a multiplayer online experience. Woohoo! What a mechanic it was. And boy, was it addicting. We had friends playing it all the time. You would try and eliminate the Templars. The Templars would try and find you. PvP action, PvE action. It was fantastic. It's really sad that they really don't have that kind of online world anymore, because I think it did so well. So addicted to it, to leveling up, to becoming better, to being the true assassin, especially when you're against real people. Now, Revelations concluded Ezio's storyline, and then we went to AC3 in 2012. Set in the 18th century colonial America, you play as Connor, whose father is a Templar, which was a cool twist to this game, and you're constantly conflicted, trying to get your father on your side. You move through significant battles in America's history, you meet George Washington, and in the end, you kill your father to protect your tribe. Now, it was a change of pace for AC, a snowy setting, tree climbing, and an all-new type of combat with a tomahawk. It was also the first AC game that featured a bow and arrow instead of a crossbow, and you had guns, which were really cool. AC3 was a lot of fun. Was it as good as 2? No, it wasn't, but it was still a good, stable game in the franchise. Now, I'm not going to go over every single Assassin's Creed game, but Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a must. Now you get to play as a pirate. That's right, a pirate. And your name was Edward Kenway, the grandfather to Connor from Assassin's Creed 3. Now this was an absolute blast and something so fresh. It took the sort of ship mechanic of Assassin's Creed 3 and just went head first into it. You had epic pirate ship battles, sword fights, beautiful water graphics, and we can't forget about the sea shanties. Yo ho, yo ho, yo ho. Assassin's Creed was doing no wrong. They were hitting on all cylinders, from 1 to 2 to 3 to little spin-offs on the side, until it always goes great. You live long enough to see yourself the villain. From 2014 to 2017, 4 Assassin's Creed games came out. Rogue, Unity, Syndicate, and Origins. Fatigue started setting in. At this point, we were at least 10 Assassin's Creed games deep. One was coming out once a year, and it's sometimes 2 a year. That's incredible. 2 a year? Yes, developed 2 different development teams. They did split up the work, so it was a little mixture of both, but it definitely felt like the same repetitive nature. The characters weren't sticking as previous entries, plus the games weren't changing that much. They felt incredibly repetitive. The quests were chory, the storylines forgettable, and the bugs started popping up like crazy. We saw so many bugs. We started seeing the cracks start to form. And a lot of players started to drop off, and it was hard to keep the love and the faith. It seemed like Assassin's Creed was losing its magic. Then, something shocking happened. They decided to take a year off. Whoa, who would have thought? Who would have guessed? What, a year off? We're starting to see that more and more with Call of Duty, not with Madden or FIFA. I don't know why. But we're starting to see that now with games that have just been coming out year by year. They're starting to realize, wait a second, maybe we shouldn't run this development team to the ground. Maybe we should give them some time to polish the game. And in 2017, Assassin's Creed Origins came out. Set in Egypt in 49 BC, this brought fans back by the masses. Now, to be honest, it wasn't my favorite game, and I felt like there wasn't enough going on in the entire world. It felt very desolate and just filled with a desert. I mean, we're in Egypt, makes sense. The map was larger, it didn't add much to it, it felt chory, a little bit repetitive, and especially when you had to take over all of those campsites, that was a lot. Also, it felt like Assassin's Creed was moving away from stealth, which is what I loved most about it. Now you had like a full-on RPG, talent wheel for like crazy powers and all this stuff, and a lot of people like that, that's fine, but for me, it didn't sit well with me. Why are you calling an Assassin's Creed game when there's not a lot of stealth going on? But this got great reviews, the fan base was happy, and this game set the tone for the next 2 Assassin's Creed game, which was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was released in 2018. Again, a year after Assassin's Creed Origins. We're not doing the wait a year anymore. Wait a second, what happened to that? Why? Yes, the 2 different development studios are now working differently on 2 different games. But is that a good thing? Well, let's find out. Set in 431 BC during the Peloponnesian War in ancient Greece, this was the first AC game that let you choose if you wanted to play as a man or a woman. And the storyline would somewhat adapt to that. The quests would somewhat adapt to that. And Odyssey, I thought, was incredible. Way better than Origins, actually. Maybe because it was the Greece setting. You have more color. It was a stronger storyline. You felt like an actual strong warrior. Maybe it was because I got to play as a woman, which I prefer. Stunning vistas, amazing combat, and fun and hilarious quests that they kind of were like making fun of the whole thing. However, we started getting further and further away from stealth, even more so than the previous ones. The combat still felt clunky from Origins, but the game did make up for it in the rich setting in Greece. Now, the last Assassin's Creed game that was just released was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, released in 2020, and that's where we had the year off in 2019, which let you play as a Viking raider in 872 AD. Now, this gave, again, the players the option to play as a man or woman, and they brought the hidden blade back that wasn't in Odyssey, but was in Origins. But again, the mechanics in the game pushed you to jumping straight into combat, into warfare, rather than plotting your stealth, plotting your actions, like in AC 1 and 2 and a little bit of 3. There was not much stealth in here. Rarely did I feel like I was an assassin. Granted, you are a Viking, and Viking assassins weren't much in history from what I've gathered. I'm not a historian, okay, but from what I've seen in TV shows and on books and the history class, Vikings were rarely stealth fighters. They would just jump right in. But my argument is then, is not Ubisoft forcing these time periods into Assassin's Creed titles? Why choose Vikings? Why choose Greek Roman warriors when they weren't known for stealth in an Assassin's Creed game? To me, it feels like it's far removed from an Assassin's Creed game. It's a separate game entirely. You're just putting Assassin's Creed on the title, which makes sense. That's going to sell. People see the title, they go, ooh, a new AC game. No, it felt like something way, way different. And for me, that didn't sit well because I wasn't Ezio. I wasn't Altair. I wasn't stealth strategizing my next kill. The combat felt mediocre. The storyline didn't grab me. And again, I was left with a sour taste in my mouth with Valhalla. I just didn't care. Now, is that the fatigue setting in? Or were they just not good games? Let me know in the comments. Now, it's been 2 years since we've had an Assassin's Creed game. The longest gap since Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2. I think that's a good thing. Do you think that's a good thing? I don't know. Is it? I have no idea. Now, games that get released every year rarely have enough polish and enough time to make it good. Granted, 2 different developers' teams are using it, but they're still under the same company. Now, especially adding a massive open world game. 1 year is not enough. You're just going to be rehashing and reusing so many things. Now, look, I'm not a game developer. I can't speak to game development. I don't know. But we've heard a lot of crunch time recently with a lot of different titles and a lot of different companies. And I can only imagine making a game every year is a little bit difficult. That's an assumption. That's on me. But I think we can agree on that. Yeah, I think so. Well, let me know in the comments if you don't. Now, the next Assassin's Creed game comes out in 2023, and that's Assassin's Creed Mirage. That means there's going to be no Assassin's Creed game for 3 years. Yes, there's going to be updates and added quest lines to Valhalla, but in terms of a game, 3 years. That's 3 years off. So something happened at Ubisoft where they went, wait a second, we should really take our time with this. Maybe Valhalla didn't sell well. All I know is I want to be excited. I want to fall in love with Assassin's Creed again. And based on what we've seen, it looks like an homage to Assassin's Creed 1. We're back in the Middle East. We're in Baghdad. And the trailer looks pretty great. Now, granted, it's CGI, and, you know, who knows what that means, but Assassin's Creed 2 had a beautiful CGI trailer. You have a famous actress helming one of the main characters. You might have seen her in The Expanse, a fantastic show, recommend it. Gorgeous color. You have the markets, the culture, the blending of world and color together. Is this the most colorful Assassin's Creed yet? I don't know. So you have the Path of Shadows, which is basically the assassins. You got wall jumping, running through the streets, very much Aladdin-esque, right? It looks awesome. You got that finger cut off, just like we know. Could there be multiplayer? Could there be co-op? I feel like it's hinting a little bit at that because it's showing 2 players working together. You have red smoke bombs. Again, more color. Gas bombs, a lot of traps, fire bombs. It looks like this is back to the stealth mechanic and the trapping mechanic, which is awesome. Now, the end teased some undead monsters. That's a little bit weird. I don't know, but Assassin's Creed is known for their aliens and adding Atlantis and a bunch of other weird stuff, which I don't mind. I mean, the aliens are a little bit weird. I agree with that. But if the storyline works and you can connect them, I don't mind. Now, could this be back to the roots? A narrative-driven game. Stealth at the forefront. Parkour at the forefront. Assassinations at the forefront. You play as Basim, 20 years before Valhalla, who's a character in Valhalla, and you come from a street thief to a master assassin. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. But again, it's not coming out till next year, which I think is good. Now, this is where I start to worry. They also announced an Assassin's Creed mobile game set in China, Codename Jade. You get to create your own character, parkour on the Great Wall of China, discover ancient China, and then this is all from them. They didn't go into too much detail and showed a little bit of a teaser trailer, but mobile game, we know it's a cash grab. We know it's a way to just make a lot of money fast, but maybe that's a good thing for the Assassin's Creed series because maybe that means more money to be put into developing other games. Now, Assassin's Creed Red was then announced. Assassin's Creed game in Japan, but is it too late? Is it too late for this? We've had Ghost of Tsushima, which was absolutely incredible. And since then, I feel like there's been 6 or 7 Japanese games that have been announced, set in feudal Japan. Granted, you're playing mostly samurais rather than ninjas. So that's where Assassin's Creed can win. But fans have been asking this for a very, very long time. Open world RPG, the future of AC. That's what they say. Ubisoft Quebec is going to be helming it behind Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, again, just a teaser, very, very little. But they're announcing a lot of Assassin's Creed games that are not going to come out for a while. And this is where you go, wait a second, you just took 3 years off. Why are we adding more games, y'all? What are we doing here? Pump the brakes. Why are you announcing a game that's not set to release for 4 or 5 years from now? Why are we doing this? Work on it. Take your time. Close your doors. Why are we announcing this? You just announced an amazing Baghdad game. We don't need this to be announced. We need it. We don't need it to be announced. So then they announced Assassin's Creed Hexe. Now, people said this could be a Blair Witch Assassin's Creed, first horror Assassin's Creed, maybe in VR Assassin's Creed. I hope not. And a lot of people on Reddit kind of dissected it, and they think it may be the German witch trials in Germany, which would be a crazy place to have Assassin's Creed, but it just might work. Now, from there, they announced Assassin's Creed Infinity, which will be the hub to connect all players and games, which is bringing back a standalone Assassin's Creed game, but into a multiplayer experience. So if you're telling me, and this was what I kind of got, that I could play all the Assassin's Creed games from the past, but with a friend, either couch co-op or multiplayer online, you guarantee I'm going through all those games again and replaying them again with my friends, because that would be incredible. Co-op campaigns need to come back. That is what I strongly believe. Look at It Takes Two. That won Game of the Year. Why? Not only was it a beautiful, amazing game, but it was a couch co-op campaign, which brought people closer together. We need more of those. Why are we getting farther away from that? Like the Halo co-op, that's never going to happen. What are you doing, man? After we had 3 years of Assassin's Creed paused, they're like, well, here's 4 more games. Do we not learn our lesson? What are we doing here? So that's a lot. That's a lot of Assassin's Creed. Are you fatigued? How do you feel? Where do you see Assassin's Creed going? Is it too late for Assassin's Creed set in Japan? Is it too late for another Assassin's Creed in the Middle East that kind of resembles Assassin's Creed 1? Is it too late for the entire Assassin's Creed franchise? Is it the Far Cry fatigue, the Call of Duty fatigue? Are we done with this series? I personally hope not, because I've had a lot of memories in this, and I want it to succeed, and I want it to be so, so good. Because it's one of those franchises that isn't really done anywhere else. But the franchise has separated itself from stealth combat, from the true Assassin's Creed that we all know and love. Will it continue that way? Or will it go back to the roots? And that's Assassin's Creed, y'all. 15th anniversary. Let's see where it continues. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, what you're excited for, if you're still playing Assassin's Creed. I'm Josh Saleh. Check out our Twitch and our Discord down below in the links. This is AdoramaXP. Peace.